Welcome back. Feel free to keep eating your lunches. I'm Dan Gillette. I'm a research scientist, senior research scientist here at Citrus. I'm also co-director with Brandy of the Tech for Social Good initiative. And outside of Citrus, I run the design center at the Public Health Institute in Oakland. I'm a designer and design researcher. And I am the moderator of this panel on pathways to work in relation to AI, disability, and aging. So Jennifer's sort of gotten into that a little bit. What we're going to do is we have a bunch of panelists. They're each going to come up and give a very brief introduction of themselves, what they do, some of the stuff they're working on that's related to this issue. And then what we're trying to do is create a very long period for a discussion, including questions from all of you. So that's our plan. As a way of introduction, I was thinking about what are the best ways to introduce this. And one was to put on my academic hat, provide some more perspective, things like that. But that's why we have all these panelists here, and the white paper that also you should have gotten in the mail as part of your participation in this event. So then I started thinking, well, maybe we should talk about, I could give a personal experience, my own work in AI and disability and aging. For instance, the first time I worked with AI was training a artificial intelligence chip, trying to get it to understand gaze, where someone's looking, so that we could use it to augment user interfaces for people who needed to control an interface in a way that they were not using keyboard or mouse. Long story short, machines have a really hard time, even smart machines, with parallax. And if you want to talk about that, we can talk about that during the break. Because what I realized was that's interesting, but we really are talking about pathways, and this is an emerging area where AI can be applied to scale, to differentiate, to personalize. And so then I started to think, how did I get to here? Because when I was in my early 20s, I was a college dropout, and I was a professional musician. And by professional musician standards, I was doing okay. I was paying my rent, I got to work regularly, but I was in the original gig economy, something that's being talked a lot about around AI. And that gig economy meant that I didn't have guaranteed work. When I did have a musician's injury at one point, and if I was a year older and not on my parents' insurance, it would have been a career ender. And the other thing is while I was doing something I loved, there were a lot of things about it that I didn't see for long term. And the reason I was doing it was because I'm also disabled. And that is the only job that I had ever found that I was able to keep. You see, I might not look it, but I have a slew of cognitive impairments. And these have kept me from traditional work in the past. But then something happened around 93, I think it was. This company out of England called Scion that had been doing a lot of military contracts introduced to the public a handheld computer. And suddenly, all the things that kept a lot of pathway to work and a lot of jobs inaccessible to me suddenly started to change. Now, I had to create my own system using this handheld computer. It took a lot of time for that to become reliable and trustworthy and start to work. And it only took me so far. But I ended up back in grad school and starting to work towards here. And now what's interesting is through advancements in miniaturization, automation, and a lot of AI backends, you are all using the same assistive technology, except for one of you, I think. Somebody doesn't have their phone with them, as I am. And that's a very interesting thing when you think about pathways to work and you think about disability. You take that stuff away, I am impaired. That doesn't change. But I forget I'm disabled, let alone do people I work with have any idea. And the pathways to work, where it used to be, even when I had my own technology, I was unable to get a job that was ever described by someone else. I'd go in and be like, we're going to have you do something different. It's all changing. So that's an example. So when you think about these different technologies and different people who don't have access and do have access to work and to all the opportunities that lead to work, it's a very broad spectrum. And in reality, in this day and age with AI and automation, we're kind of all in that boat. And so that's something to think about. So as we go through for the rest of the day, and definitely for the rest of the panel, I think the best way for us to think about it is for you to think about your personal pathway to work. How did you get to sitting right here if you're here in a professional role? And what does that mean, and what opportunities do you have? And related to that, what technologies, what training, what access, what privilege, what lack of access, how did all that play? What sort of luck? Because it wasn't just the technology. I had a lot of people that I didn't even realize sometimes helping me out as well, you know, and there were policies and other things in place. So with that, I'd like to bring up Sharon Emick from WAVE. We're gonna have each person describe a little bit what they do. So I'm not gonna introduce them by title or anything because I'll get it wrong. Thank you.